After years apart, Blur made their long-awaited comeback last year. Bassist Alex James is now sharing the story behind their reunion, which saw the band revisit all of their biggest hits. What great songs. They're amazing. Alex is telling the story of the big reunion in a new book. It's called Over the Rainbow, Tales from an Unexpected Year. And it was unexpected, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
completely out of the blue. About this time last year, I got a phone call saying...
Come on,
let's do it.
Let's do it, and why not? This is really funny. It's really funny. It's a great read. You just want to get to the end of it, you know, because you want to... And then at the end, you're like, oh.
Well, it was a crazy year. I hadn't really intended to write a book about it until about 3/4 of the way through.
Right.
And I thought, actually, this is a really good story, and it's got a great shape to it. Because I think all the basis of all stories is like a stranger comes to town. I think.
Yes.
And I basically lived quite a quiet, isolated existence, monastic existence actually, on a farm, kind of making cheese and wine.
Yeah, living your best life, to be fair.
Everything that monks do, you know, festivals were invented by monks, and then but suddenly the Blur monster arrives and like blows everything out of the water, and this is really the story of the mayhem that ensues alongside me trying to kind of run a business and raise a family and deal with all the normal stuff.
But you loved it. There was joy, wasn't there? I mean, you had the best time.
There's always been a real sense of enchantment about Blur. I mean, Graham Coxon, Blur's guitar player, was the very first person I saw when I arrived in London. He was getting out of his parents' car holding a guitar, and I was getting out of my parents' car holding a guitar.
Wow.
Like, it's just like, it's so weird. And then the very first time I was in a room with him and Damon, we wrote a song that we still play today. You know, it's like absolutely instant.
When it just works.
Yeah.
You don't know...
It's either completely effortless or totally impossible.
Right.
And it had been totally impossible for like 8 long years since we'd barely spoken, and then suddenly it was all...
Did you just feel it was the right time?
I think it is very much about timing. But, you know, you never really know whether anyone's going to be interested until you actually put a show on sale.
Oh, for goodness sake, people went... Do you know, I mean, because people went nuts. I mean, it wasn't just here, it was global, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, so it's just... So we said we'd do Wembley, and then that sold out in 5 minutes, and so we added another one. So I told my wife we're doing 2. She said Harry Styles is doing 4.
So, up your game.
That's the great thing about having a family, keeping it real. And then all these extra shows kept getting added on. So we were doing all the biggest festivals in the world. And then it's back to my house for a festival at home. It was like this party that kind of didn't really stop. So it's all about sort of trying to work out how to hold a balance when you've got 5 teenage kids and all they want to do is kind of drink lots of cider and do the splits to Rasputin.
Exactly.
So there's this just kind of sense of like just trying to hold the chaos at bay, but like kind of lots of joy and lots of mayhem, and yeah, I just felt it was a wonderful story.
Oh, absolutely.
And it kind of helped me to process it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe it was only like this time last year. I think we were doing.
I can't believe that either.
I know. Yeah, it seems like ages ago.
It does.
But I really just needed to sit down, very quietly, and just work out what the hell had happened.
What was that? What happened there? That was a whirlwind.
And I think that's something that writing actually really gives. It just does help you kind of work stuff out.
No, definitely. Have you written more than? Is this the first one?
So actually, the first time that Blur went into hiatus was around the time that Claire and I got married and bought a farm on our honeymoon. And Blur like, literally just completely stopped. And I had no transferable skills at all. You know, I was really good at playing the bass and eating cheese, but that was kind of all I could do. So, but fortunately, I got a column in the Independent writing about living on it. It was kind of like an early version of Clarkson's Farm. You know, rubbish farming. You know, disaster after disaster. But, you know, after 20 years of, like, working really, really hard at it, the whole thing's kind of whirring like a well-oiled machine. But it's really hard to tear yourself away from this. The longer you spend living on a farm, the harder it is to leave it alone.
But I just think you're a really good writer.
Oh, bless you.
Do you know what I mean? And I think if you have got the time, I could see you know, writing fiction, writing something.
Well, I mean, you're a writer too. You know, it's pain at the bank. The blank page is absolutely terrifying. I just started writing, and it just flowed, and I was just laughing my head off.
It's a rare skill. It's a rare skill. Now, look, you love your cheese.
I do love my cheese.
And you do fine, mighty fine cheese, mighty fine sparkling wine. But you had to kind of stop eating that to get back into your Britpop trousers.
Oh, my word, that was
for you know, for the tour, you had to be in good shape, right?
I mean, I certainly did. Well, I mean, you know, I live on a food machine making cheese and wine. I'm surrounded by chefs because we run a food festival. And like a lot of people, I put a lot of weight on in lockdown.
Tell me.
I mean, you cannot point a super trooper at a fatso. I had, you know, it just so the terrifying thing was...
Make that the title of your next book. You cannot point a super trooper, which is a big line, at a fatso.
But it's usually it's being in a band that is the kind of road to excess and kind of... But the being in Blur is actually a kind of... I realised it was going to be a kind of rehab, you know.
Right.
I had to use it to get fit. I found the trousers that I wore, like, the last time Blur were back together and hung them up in the office.
That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea.
Actually,
you ate bone broth. Was that as delicious as it sounds?
Anything's delicious when you're that hungry. But no, I mean, stocks and broths are they're the basis of all fine cooking.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it was okay, and you got back into them, and it was a joy.
it was horrible. But I mean, the great thing about going to the gym is that, unlike kind of making an album at this stage of your career, or running a festival, which, you know, you never know whether there's going to be a thunderstorm or, you know, there's very few things in life that are guaranteed. But when you're doing your 100th burpee in the gym, you know it's working. It's
control.
Eat less, exercise more. Jobs are good.
Exactly. This is a great read, Alex. It really is. And you've got to come back and do more. I mean, you've done this.
Thank you.
You've got to write more, but you've got to get the boys back together again and go back out again.
That's enough for Carl.
Do you think it's enough just now?
I think, you know, but this is the first time we've got to the end of a tour cycle without at least one of us going ever again. So I think that's a perfect place to leave it, really.
That's really good. Thank you so much for coming in.
Bless you,
Absolute
darling.
joy.
Pleasure.
And
Cheers.
Over the Rainbow, Tales from an Unexpected Year is out on Thursday. And yeah, whether you like the band, whether you are a huge fan, this is a great read. Well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel. And if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.